Nancy Drew, Ghost of Thornton Hall, is the 28th game in the series. It begins with Nancy getting a phone call from famous ghost hunter Savannah Woodham. Savannah is afraid of ghosts, which probably makes her job difficult. She begs Nancy to take her place in the Thornton Hall mystery. See, a young woman named Jessalyn Thornton disappeared after visiting the haunted, abandoned building known as Thornton Hall. To make things worse, Jessalyn's wedding is tomorrow. Hold on, let me ask my fiancé something. Katie, can we have a scavenger hunt on a haunted island the night before our wedding? No? Okay, just checking. I don't know why Jessalyn decided to celebrate her wedding with a haunted scavenger hunt. Everyone assures Nancy that Jessalyn was just weird that way. Jessalyn's fiancé is Colton Birchfield. He's a mixture of worried and sad, and he claims that his mind sometimes goes to a very dark place. To be honest, I think Colton is boring. He disappears for half the game, and it's never really explained where he goes. I suspect that he went to get McDonald's for everyone, but he forgot to get some for Nancy, and now he's avoiding her because he doesn't want to have any awkward confrontations. A cousin named Wade Thornton is at the hall. He used to date Savannah, and now he spends all of his time looking at gravestones and talking about dead people. That's usually a sign the relationship didn't go very well. Personally, I like Wade because he's rather clever and he's got a nice beard. But seriously, Wade, Jessalyn is missing. You should try looking for her at some point. Savannah from Savannah sends Nancy a package about the ghost of Thornton Hall. She is Charlotte Thornton, who died in a fire about 30 years ago. Nobody knows who started the fire that killed Charlotte, probably because that was 1980s Nancy Drew territory. Knowing her, she was too busy trying to flirt with Wade to bother with investigating. Nancy is shocked when Charlotte's ghost appears in the hallway. The hallway leads to Charlotte's room, but it's locked. Then, Nancy finds a note which tells her to visit the most dreadful place in the house. Most dreadful place? The bathroom? No, the workshop. According to Wade, 54 people died there over 100 years ago. Yeah, lots of people keep dying at Thornton Hall. Nancy should probably go somewhere else. Nancy is attacked and gets dragged to the basement, where she meets Harper Thornton, Charlotte's sister. Harper is a character straight out of the literary subgenre known as Southern Gothic. Basically, when Charlotte died, Harper freaked out and never freaked back in again. Harper is very smart, she's mentally unstable, and she prefers life that way. Throughout the game, Harper gives Nancy several puzzle messages to solve. The final character of the game, who I probably should have mentioned earlier, is Clara Thornton. She's Jessalyn's mom and she's the family matriarch. She runs the business by herself and you can tell she's not used to being contradicted. I would never hang out with her in real life, but I liked her the most out of the characters because she was the only one who didn't try to scare Nancy. Sometimes that's all I can hope for in a Nancy Drew game. Harper leaves a puzzle that leads Nancy to a hidden passageway with Jessalyn's camera. Nancy overhears Colton making kissy face talk with a woman named Lexi, and Nancy immediately collapses from exhaustion. I didn't know listening to other people was so tiring. Nancy spends the entire day asleep, and she only wakes up when Bess calls. Bess is staying with Nancy's boyfriend, Ned, all night long. For 3 nights in a row. I think the real mystery here is why Nancy sees nothing wrong with this situation. Nancy finds her way to the burned down house where Charlotte died. Charlotte's ghost shows Nancy the key to the crypt. The next time Nancy goes there, Charlotte's ghost attacks her and knocks her out. What an ungrateful meanie! I'm trying to figure out who killed you here, Charlotte. You should be supporting my efforts. Most people don't like the clock puzzle in this game, but I dislike the crypt puzzle. You have to solve puzzles on 4 specific coffins in this group of 16, and I could not figure out which 4 coffins were the ones I needed. I had to cheat and look up the information online. The crypt puzzles give you the key to Charlotte's room, It's a sad-looking place, and Nancy finds out that Charlotte died during a masquerade party on her birthday. Oh, that explains why she's dressed so oddly. I was going to question that earlier, but then I forgot. Back with the story. Clara and Wade are mad to hear that Harper is hiding in the basement and not paying rent. Nancy overhears Colton talking to Lexi again. He explains that Lexi is his ex-girlfriend and he's going to cancel the wedding so he can date her again. Wow. His fiancée disappears and he immediately goes back for his old girlfriend. What a jerk! There's a plot twist where it turns out Clara paid Lexi to stay away from Colton, but I don't care. He is a grade A jerk. I bet he was watching TV while everyone else was out looking for Jessalyn. Nancy collapses from exhaustion again and wakes up the next night. What can I say? It's a scary game, so she can't explore during the daytime. Not long into the third night, Nancy finds Jessalyn in a tunnel. Hooray! Jessalyn begs Nancy to hear her out. If Nancy agrees, good. If not, Jessalyn summons Charlotte's ghost and Charlotte kills Nancy. Yes, Jessalyn kills a girl she doesn't know. Maybe we should have let her stay lost. Jessalyn explains that she met Harper during the haunted scavenger hunt. They talked for a long time, and Harper has convinced Jessalyn that Clara is a murderer. Together, Jessalyn and Harper made a 3-step plan to stop Clara. Jessalyn pretends to be kidnapped. Huh? Prove Clara is guilty. Step 2 turns into make Nancy do all of the work, which is pretty standard in these games. Nancy finds Charlotte's will, and a fire breaks out. Harper and Clara are trapped inside Thornton Hall, and Nancy is given the opportunity to rescue them. There are 3 endings depending on who you choose to save. In the good ending, Nancy saves everyone, and Clara confesses she accidentally started the fire which killed Charlotte. When the fire department examines the basement, they learn that Thornton Hall has poor ventilation. Carbon monoxide was leaking from the furnace in certain parts of the house, so Nancy never really saw Charlotte's ghost. Those were just hallucinations. The end. Post-game follow-up. The ghost was a hallucination the whole time. Baloney. That's impossible because the ghost killed Nancy and knocked her unconscious. Fake hallucinations don't do that. Also, Charlotte's ghost always appears in the masquerade costume, but Nancy doesn't learn about the costume until day 2. So, Nancy's hallucinations somehow knew about Charlotte's costume long before she did. To be fair, Her Interactive did think things through, and they have an explanation for all of the hauntings. For example, Nancy sees Charlotte in costume because of the statue in the graveyard, and whenever Nancy got attacked, that was Harper, not Charlotte. Still, it was all a hallucination, feels like a cop-out ending, a blanket excuse to justify all of the hauntings in the game. Especially since carbon monoxide poisoning doesn't cause hallucinations. Still, I like the hauntings. They were chilling and directly fed into the game's scary environment. The muted colors were used to great effect too. My favorite part of the spookiness was the creepy music, especially the Ladybug song about Charlotte's death. I think this game has a legitimate claim to being the scariest Nancy Drew game. Sorry, fans of Shadow at the Water's Edge, Pink Yumi takes away from your game's scariness. The characters in this game are good, except for Colton, who I didn't really like. I could complain that Wade isn't very relevant to the story, and he isn't, but I went through all of the optional conversations with him, and that satisfied me. I liked Harper the most, and to be honest, I'm pretty indifferent about the phone contacts in this game. Jessalyn's friend Addison didn't interest me, and Savannah seemed to sidestep all of the good parts of the conversations, as if she's allergic to being interesting. Ned and Bess were the best phone contacts, and they were basically just as good here as anywhere else. And let's not forget, this is the first game in the series that lets you fast forward through conversations. Oh man, people have been asking for that feature for at least 10 years, and it's finally here. It makes replayability so much better. I just love it. It's great. A great improvement to the series. Overall, this is a great game. I could whine about the smaller details, like how the tile puzzle is a little bit too fussy, but the good parts greatly outweigh the bad parts. I'm only taking away 1 point for the hallucination ending, which broke many people's willing suspension of disbelief. I give Nancy Drew number 28, Ghosts of Thornton Hall, a 9 out of 10.